Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Hard Factor 92.3 Nigeria Info and Herringport Hackett. I'm Dio. 12 minutes gone past 3 p.m. It's a fine Tuesday. Weather's been great all day so far, but it's pretty cloudy right now. I've already turned dark just as I walked into the studio. Looks like the heavens might open up any moment now, and the rains might start to pour. Well, if you're in a vicinity, maybe you live there, that's prone to flooding, do take note. It does look that it might be really bad. And, well, I do hope that government is doing something, or at least planning something, regarding that situation. And for those communities where the flooding can't be helped, I hope that efforts are being put in place to relocate, albeit temporarily, the people, the inhabitants of those communities, so at least they can get some respite, really. Welcome once again. From now till 4 o'clock, pardon me, till 7 o'clock rather, we keep the conversation going. Some matters up for discussion on the show today. We'll be addressing them in a moment. Of course, I'll be starting with the traditional side comments, random stories, random thoughts that caught my attention earlier today. A reminder once again that side comments will not be discussed immediately until possibly much later on during the open season segment. That comes up after the major news at 6. After today's side comments, then comes today's rant. I'll be taking your thoughts on mine till 4 p.m. Thought we got business news coming up, and after that, let's see. Is it safe to drive a Bolt these days, or any of the other cab hailing services that there are out there? We've got Pandora as well, I believe. City Taxi. Don't know if they still exist though, but we did have them at some point. Who knows? But a couple others, I suppose, as well. Is it safe these days? I heard some very alarming, disturbing story earlier today as regards the experience of a driver of one of the more popular cab hailing services, online cab hailing services out there, and it was quite disturbing indeed. And we'll be discussing that today. Are the drivers, are they endangered? Are they an endangered species these days? Once again, very troubling, disturbing narrative as to what this person experienced. But we'll discuss that in the 4 o'clock hour. I'll be having him as a guest in the studio. I will not spill the beans on the matter until 4 o'clock. Now, for those of you who have listened to the show long enough, might understand why I won't be giving any details as regards, or giving any more details as to what that conversation will be about. But you don't want to miss it. It comes about to the business news at 4 p.m. That takes us to 5 at 5 p.m. And Dume doesn't want to be a shorty anymore. Nope. Kind of reminds me of that song. Don't want to be a player no more. I'm trying to remember who was responsible for that song. Because someone help me out via WhatsApp. Number for WhatsApp is 0809 030 Can someone help me out with that? Don't want to be a player no more. I think it's a song from possibly sometime the 90s, I think. Or was it late 80s now? I think it was 90s, I suppose. Okay, can someone help me out with that? Alright, just quickly, so we can move on. And also, the artist or the group, was it a group? I'm not sure if it was a group or one person. I think it may have been a person. I think it was one artist. I think it was a popular R&B artist from the 90s, I suppose. Can someone help me out with that? Once again, the WhatsApp number is 0809 030 Oh, I got responses right now. They are pouring in. Someone says, Joe. Someone says Davido sang it too. No, I'm referring to something from the 90s. That couldn't have been Davido. Joe Summers, Timothy Reddick. Seriously, Timothy Reddick. Joe, sung by Joe. Someone says Kate Sweat. I think you mean Keith Sweat. Did Keith Sweat have a Don't Want to Be a Player No More song? Not sure about that. Joe, that one said Felix Liberty. That's interesting. Uh, Big Pond featuring Joe. Di, good afternoon. Joe from Micah Ngozi. Joe Summers, Don't Wanna Be a Player. Yep, absolutely correct. For those who went with Joe, the song is Cutsy Joe, Don't Wanna Be a Player. Absolutely. Released, I think, sometime in 1997 from the album, yep, Booty Call. Anyways, thank you for your very brilliant responses for that. So, Joe, in the 90s, at some point, didn't want to be a player no more. Ali Ndume, in 2021, doesn't want to be a shorty no more. Apparently, maybe he and Joe could get together and they could do some kind of a remix of that song. But instead of "Don't Want to Be a Player No More," the lyrics would be "Don't Want to Be a Shorty No More." Well, here's a story cut to the Vanguard. Court rejecting Dume's plea to withdraw as Mayna's shorty. Here's a bit of the story. That's the moment. Alright, computer's not working with me right now. Nah, not working with me at all. Okay. Do I have to resort to this? Okay, the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court on Monday rejected an application by the senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, found to be discharged as a shorty in the ongoing trial of former chairman of the defunct pension reform task team, Abdurrashid Maina. Ndume spent 5 days at the Kuje Correctional Center after Maina jumped bail and had, in the application he filed through his lawyer, Mr. Marcel Uru, begged the court to allow him to pull out from the case. He described Mina's action that led to his detention as highly despicable. However, Justice Okon Abang held that the trial court has lost the jurisdiction to grant the request. And now Justice Okon held that his court has become functus officio on the issue, considering that the lawmaker had earlier gone to the Court of Appeal to challenge a ruling that ordered him to forfeit the 500 million naira bail bond he signed on behalf of the former pension reform boss. Where an appeal has been found, every application will be made before the Court of Appeal. Therefore, any issue can only be entertained by the Court of Appeal, Justice Abang held. Consequently, he dismissed the application for want of jurisdiction. You might remember, Mena is answering to a 12-count charge alongside his firm, Common Impute Properties and Investment Limited, over his alleged involvement in money laundering to the tune of 2 billion naira. The EFCC also alleges that Mela stole over 14 billion from the federal pension account using names of fake pensioners and non-existent biometric contracts. Anyways, we'll discuss Senator Ndume's quest to not be a shorty no more. Several, of course, talking points as regards that. Is it even safe to stand shorty for a person who is on trial? And, what happens if a person doesn't get someone to stand shorty for them? Now, is the shorty responsible for every action the person on trial carries out during that trial? These details and why the court is rejecting Senator Ali Ndume's request to not be a shorty no more. These and other related matters we discuss in the 5 o'clock hour after the news updates. My guest will be Barrister Richard Wokocha. Till about 6, we got headlines 5:30 p.m. Major news at 6. An open season comes up after that till about 7 when the show comes to an end today. So pretty much that's today's show. If there are any changes, you will find out. Stick around. So we get things going right now with today's side comments, random stories, random thoughts that I came across as I checked out the news today. And starting with this one, well, it's been 9 years since 4 students of the University of Port Harcourt, Ugodna Abuzo, Toko Lloyd, Chiadika Biringa, and Tekena Elkana were lynched for alleged theft in Alu community. River State, known as Alu 4, the video which went viral sparked a public outcry, leading to arrests of several people. Now, those indicted for the murder were sentenced to death 4 years after by the River State High Court in Port Harcourt. They include the police sergeants Lucky Oji, David Chinasa Ogbada, and Ikechukwu Louis Amadi. 4 of the suspects in the trial were discharged and acquitted. That was a really, really, really dark time in our lives as a people, as a nation. It showed how despicably evil and barbaric Some of us can be, and it's was really terrible indeed. Unfortunately, I do perceive, based on reports we do get from time to time, that such barbaric, despicable behavior still is being carried out in our communities. Maybe we're just more careful these days to ensure people don't record them using their mobile devices, and that's why we haven't had an incident that's generated a kind of uproar. Now the Aldo 4 incident did, and but the fact of the matter is, we cannot want to live in a decent society and ourselves we behave like and condone animalistic behavior. You can't complain that the police, for example, are thieves and are robbers, and then you go about murdering people in the name of in the name of justice, and your excuse might be because you don't trust the police. It doesn't work that way. What we should do is ensure that the justice system works, because there's a reason the justice system is designed the way it's been designed. For example, it says everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. Now, it doesn't even matter what the circumstances in which you find that person. It doesn't matter how obvious the crime committed or alleged to have been committed may be. It doesn't matter if you caught the person with a gun in his hand and a dead body in front of him or her. There's a reason, because it were better that 100 or 1,000 guilty persons went free than one innocent person is convicted for a crime or punished for a crime they did not commit. So we have to do all that we can to ensure the justice system works. Jungle justice can never be the alternative, can never be an option, must never be with any people who want a decent society. Because once again, it amounts to animalistic behavior, and you can't behave like animals until you want to live in a civilized environment. I hope that the families are do find comfort at this time, because I can't even begin to imagine how difficult it will be for them every year when they remember inevitably what happened 9 years ago. And well, I do wish them well, and I hope that we never experience an ugly situation such as that again, ever again. Now, widow of late Joe Blankson, Mercy, says life has been hard since her husband drowned while saving victims of boat accident in 2018. Mrs. Blankson spoke to our correspondent days after President Muhammadu Buhari conferred a posthumous award on her husband. Let's hear what Mercy had to say about this situation. Just a moment while I... All right, here we go.
You know what it's like now, the economy and stuff, school fees and upkeep, medical bills, accommodation, and it's just God has been seeing me through. But lately, there's this anonymous helper that God sent my way that have paid my kids' school fees for 3 terms. So that was like a relief, but it's still tough. At times when my kids would be crying for something, I won't be able to give them what they want, and at times they'll even be down. I'll just do self-medication for them and even giving them the quality education they deserve. I'll just try to do whatever I can do within my reach.
All right. It's everyone praised the president for the gesture to Joe Blankson's family, to the memory of Joe Blankson as well, and that may be a good thing. Others have also asked the question that beyond this honor or beyond this posthumous award or plaque or whatever else it is may have been given to the wife and the family, did it come with some other incentive as well to cushion, to make their lives easier, so to speak? And you might remember as well that following a public outcry in 2018, Governor Yesom promised to set up an education endowment fund for the children of late Joe Blankson. As a matter of fact, I have a story here from The Guardian. Rivers opens endowment fund for Blankson's children. It was published August 8, 2018. The Rivers State government has opened an endowment fund for the two kids of Joseph Blankson, who saved 13 people in a boat accident. A boat Joseph had been riding in had capsized, and one by one he saved 13 passengers, pulling them ashore. The diesel supplier had attempted saving the 14th person. When exhausted, he drowned. River State Governor Yesumuke shared on his Facebook page the endowment fund was revealed while he received Blankson's wife, children, and extended family at Government House on Monday. And Joseph's wife, Mercy, was employed by the River State government, while Wike also donated to the burial of the late hero a service of songs in honor of the think at about that period as well. So, but I'm just wondering if this education endowment fund was set up as promised by the River State government, by the governor himself, reportedly via his Facebook page, reportedly. Why then does Mercy require some anonymous Samaritan, good Samaritan, to pay for children's school fees? You know, why is that the case, and why is the family going through some very difficult times, and she has to even provide self-medication for the children when they're ill, and she can't provide certain things for them, and something about the job also. What happened with the job? Did she get the job? Did she get the job? Did the children get the scholarships? Did they get any help from the state government besides some fancy announcement on Facebook and God knows where else? What happened? You know, what happened? Nobody should die. Nobody should be killed, and it's a sad thing when it happens. But when security agents are killed, and that should not happen, nobody should kill a security agent. We're all too aware how His Excellency rushes to provide 10 million, or is it 20 million? How much now? It was several millions, anyways, to the families. And with that delay, you know, the event is held and millions do that to, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, one can only wonder why it appears that the state government does not respond with similar alacrity. You know, why doesn't respond with similar precision and similar zeal and dexterity and quickness and alertness and sensitivity when civilians go through different things, even though the circumstances are somewhat different, no doubt. But this man, the only reason he rose to that level of acclaim and fame, sadly it was his death, was because he died a hero. He died a hero. He died saving people. So why can't we rush, you know, and help out his family with maybe 10 million or 20 million, like we do when, you know, our security agents are killed or something like that. I don't know. I got a comment via WhatsApp that says Wike will proceed. Wike with proceeds from VAT to set up endowment fund for the family. Okay. He will use the proceeds from VAT to set up endowment fund for the family. I think he's inaugurated the appeal tax committee in Arts and Justice. All right. Hello, guys. Unfortunately, the kind of beings we are, and how forgetful we could be sometimes. I actually thought those 13 people saved could set up a foundation, no matter how poor they may be. But the fact that Joe gave them their lives back, they should have been able to help his family. He left. Could that have been too much a demand? Just thinking, not Anthony. Well, maybe, but who knows? When you say no matter how poor they are, you don't know how poor they are. Maybe they can't even feed their own families also. You know, who knows? Then again, the government that obviously has the resources to do so promised to do something. The question is, has that been done? Has it been done? You know, in a market somewhere in the north, and we dole out 500. Was it 500 million? We gave them 500 million, maybe. There was some situation in Benue State. I think the governor, His Excellency, yes, and we could dole that. Was it 200 million? And now we got a real life hero here in River State, and I don't know. There are question marks as to whether the endowment fund and other things promised the family have been done or not. So if they've not been done, I hope the River State government will wake up to its responsibility and fulfill this and reach out to that family and encourage other people to be heroes as well. Not only when you are wearing police uniform or that uniform and something happens to you. Oh, let's see, was there anything else that caught my attention? Nigerian Army 6th Division in Port Harcourt flagged off a joint operation tagged Exercise Stillwater across 4 states and in the southwest. The official launch of the operation, which took place at the Ahoda Garrison Command, is expected to end December 23. So maybe the security of chiefs believe which is a good idea. They may be right. And security, of course, is a very important matter. And we expect them to design measures to address security concerns. But in doing that, we hope that they will remind their boys that Nigerians have rights. And just because they are wearing uniforms does not mean, and they have guns, does not mean that they have to slap people around, beat up people, arrest them illegally, and extort them and rob them and even kill them sometimes for committing no crimes at all. Alright, please remind your boys as they pour out for this operation exercise Stillwater to remember that they're not in a war zone and Nigerians actually have rights. I have to wrap up the side comments shortly. Well, on the Bessie Blankson situation, someone said that she's not a full-blooded Rivers daughter and she doesn't occupy political position of consequence. Oh well, I hope that's not the reason. Anyways, I have to wrap this up shortly. But finally, I think I will say this for today's side comments. It's very important that we are observant, that we are conscious of what's happening in our society. And I've observed something, a trend that's playing out right now. 2023 is around the corner. In just over 2 months, 2021 will be over. We are going to be in 2022. The year after that is the much expected 2023 general elections are coming up, and a lot is going on right now. A lot is definitely going on, and the politicians have started again. So in rhetoric and irrelevant, inconsequential rhetoric all over the place as to whether it is the north or it is the south. And unfortunately, a lot of Nigerians are going to be drawn into that conversation as to it's not for one part of the country only. Nobody can rule one part of the country only. It's not only for one part of the country. All of us, rotation, turn by turn. And that becomes the center. That becomes the focal conversation. That becomes all that we're going to be concerned with till 2023 elections to come and go. Now for the next 4 years, we'll be calling Nigerian for to say, help us and tell them. You people should help us and tell this administration. You people should help us and tell them. You people should do investigative journalism. You people there should help us and tell them. Help us and tell them what? Tell them what? Don't be swayed by the irrelevant rhetoric, whether it is north or south. Listen for the critical things, the important things. What are the policies? What are the plans? What is the blueprint? What is the economic plan or economic strategy that whether it's a political party or an individual is bringing to the table, not whether it is the north or the south, and several other irrelevant rhetoric that will spring up as 2023 draws closer, so that you will not be lamenting afterwards. You should help us and tell them. All right, so that's it for today's side comments, I suppose. All right. Well, I needed to say this also. I need to say this. You're aware this happened yesterday. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are back online after going offline for about 6 hours yesterday, Monday, causing a stir among users. The 3 sites owned by Facebook could not be accessed over the web or on smartphone apps. It's the largest failure so far. The last time Facebook had a disruption of this magnitude was in 2019. Now, I'd like to say, for those of you who live your lives online, this might be a sign for you. Don't let your life be overtaken by things online, especially on social media pages. Um, if you live, I mean, Facebook went off for 6 hours. Does that mean your life ended or you died for 6 hours? Or Instagram or WhatsApp even? They are simply tools that should help you either on your social life, in communicating or interacting with people, or maybe even tools to help grow your business as well. But your life should not depend, your life should not be hinged on what happens on social media pages. How many people like your pictures? How many people comment when you post? Whether they think you are slaying or you're on fleek or not. That should not be the essence of your life. Alright, so that's it for side comments. I go on a break. When I return, today's round comes up. Please stay with us.
We give the facts.
News entirely.
We give the evidence. Just to keep you informed.
News, weather.
I get my information top of the hour every hour.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
What we do goes beyond bringing you the news. We give you a chance to talk about it. Your opinion, your voice.
This is 92.3 Nigeria Info, Port Harcourt.
Your number one news, talk, and sports radio station.
A clean surrounding is a collective effort.
Diseases could be avoided
With good hygiene practice, be more responsible with how you dispose waste products. The environment will be better looking without litter and exposed garbage. We love our city clean. This message is from 92.3 Nigeria Info.
And now, hard facts. Hard facts with Dayo.
Welcome back. Still hard fact to 92.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dayo. 21 minutes ago before 4 p.m. I'd like to run for just a bit. I've got something in my mind. I'm expressing some thoughts on it, and you're very welcome to express your thoughts and mine all the way till 4 p.m. A story I came across in the Punch newspaper has inspired today's rant, and it's a reminder to the federal government, the federal government especially, that it came into power, rode into Aso Villa on the heels of several promises to Nigerians. And I think top on the list, very likely top on the list of those promises, is a war on corruption. The promise that the government was going to fight corruption and fight it to a standstill and bring it that to the barest minimum possible in the country. And this rant, by the way, is simply to remind the federal government that it has not announced a suspension of the war on corruption. I'd like to remind the federal government that it is not like labor unions or pressure groups. The federal government is not like the Association of Resident Doctors who will suspend strike. And God knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks, by the way, after 6 weeks. And federal government is not like ASU either, that also suspends strikes, only to resume the strike when inevitably the whole world knows, but they didn't apparently, that something was going to go wrong. So the federal government is not like NLC either, or any of the other labor unions we have in the country who embark on strikes to get government to do the needful, to do proper things, to put policies in place and implement these policies, and without even any sign that the problems have been fixed, without any signs that the policies have been enacted or even implemented, without any sign that anything tangible has been or will be done regarding the situation, they then suspend these industrial actions. And here's the story here, courtesy, I think it's the Punch newspaper. CSOs Berate FG, VIP says Pandora papers implicate Peter Obi, 9 others. Here's the story. Civil rights groups on Monday berated politicians and the elites as 10 Nigerian politicians were implicated in the Pandora Papers for tax evasion. They were among hundreds of individuals from other countries indicted by the papers for hiding their wealth and assets in offshore locations to evade taxes. Civil rights organizations, including Transition Monitoring Group and the Center for Public Accountability, in separate interviews, said reports show deep-rooted corruption in Nigeria. The Pandora Papers is an investigation based on one of the biggest ever leaks of financial documents, which exposed the hidden world of shielded wealth belonging to hundreds of politicians and billionaires. Published by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists on Sunday, the papers listed 336 politicians, including nationals of 8 African countries. And the project saw 600 journalists from 150 news organizations around the world pouring through a trove of 11.9 million confidential files, contextualizing information, tracking down sources, and analyzing public records and other documents. One of those named is the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, according to Premium Times, which took part in the investigations. Obi, former vice presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2019 election, was said to have used a Monaco-based foreign company, Access International, to incorporate an offshore entity in one of the world's most notorious tax havens, noted for providing conduits for wealthy and privileged corrupt political elites to hide stolen cash to avoid the attention of tax authorities. Now, according to Premium Times, he allegedly paid Access International to provide nominee directors for his company, Gabriela Investments Limited, and it was born November 17, 2010, with a registration number, blah, 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 while 2 figureheads were appointed its first directors, while ultimate control resided with Obi. Efforts were made to get a response from the former Anambra State governor without success. Calls to his mobile phone number were neither picked nor returned. A response to a text message sent to him with respect to his response to findings listed him in the Pandora Papers was still being expected. And when consulted by Premium Times, Obi stated, quote, "I don't declare what is owned with others. If my family owns something, I won't declare it. I didn't declare anything I jointly owned with anyone." EFCC spokesman Wilson Uwujaren did not respond when asked if the commission would initiate investigations into the allegations against Obi and other Nigerians mentioned in the Pandora Papers. He did not respond to calls and to a text message seeking his comment on the development. Now, there are other prominent Nigerians as well who are listed in this scandalous report, really. Let me see if I can find the names of some of the others, by the way. Just a moment. I did have that here somewhere. Of course, other African countries as well are listed, and world leaders from other countries as well. Now, you would think that a government that is reportedly, allegedly, supposedly committed to the war on corruption, the fight against corruption, would have started making comments or at least statements right now, or at least efforts to investigate these allegations, possibly with a view to, prosecutions and with possibly getting convictions where these people are found guilty of having committed a crime. Because the allegations indeed are weighty. And once again, I'm not going to spend too much of a time on this. Just a reminder to the federal government once again, to the EFCC, for example, who are very quick to go about arresting and traumatizing and assaulting young people who are just going about doing their thing, trying to eke out an honest living, accusing them of being Yahoo boys and breaking into people's homes at odd hours of the day. We have some people who have been accused of high-profile financial corruption-related schemes. It would be nice if the EFCC or ICPC or the police or anyone for that matter will look into this, or the IG, or are they waiting for a directive? No, that's what happens in Nigeria. They have to wait for the president to issue a directive for them to carry out investigations and prosecute. It's almost like they forget their jobs. They are busy watching Telemundo maybe until the president's directive comes, and then somebody wakes up and, oh, the president has given directives, so let's do our jobs now. A reminder once again to the government that I'm not aware that there has been a suspension of the war on corruption. So it would be nice if we get reports from government that it is taking a look at this investigation that's been released to the public right now, and will possibly we hear reports of uh, arrests and possible prosecution of some of those who have been accused of very likely misappropriating public funds. On that note, I end my round. Thanks for listening. Hope you were on board. Any thoughts about later it? The numbers are the same line to open. We got 0817 93 0002 or 0003 0817 93 0007 as well. We're live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. Also live on YouTube. Search for Nigeria Info PH. And WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. Just keep it brief and straight to the point, if you will, once a call has been taken. And turn down the volume of your radio set as well, else we can't have a conversation. To the phone lines now, I've got Clement from NTA Radio. Welcome, please go on.
Okay, Mr. Dayo, let me also remind you to see of the bullion van at is it Chief Tunubu or Senator Tunubu's house? And let me also remind the EFCC that we are still waiting for the list of the names that were mentioned concerning the terrorist sponsors in Nigeria. And so many others that they are afraid to finger. You see, it's a pity that they are sent to demoralize the working and the hard-working youth of Nigeria. And the other big men are just working freely and nothing is happening to them. It's a pity, Mr. Dayo. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. David, hello, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, Dayo. Good afternoon.
Hello.
It's unfortunate that public leaders should be hiding their assets from the public. I know why you can make assets or you gain properties and you decide not to disclose it to the public. It's not a crime. But if you are holding public office and in the process of being sworn, before you swear in the constitution, you must declare such assets, and you don't declare such assets, it is a wrong in the constitution which can lead to you being taken out of the office. And if it is done for evasion of tax, there is a crime for which it can be jailed. So for P2B and the rest, I don't know if that's the properties are getting from properties of corruption, that will not be left for EFCC to investigate. But investigating these matters does not just take a day or two. The Pandora papers, Pandora released that report, doesn't mean that it is all through. And then the EFCC have to swing into action immediately. The action they have to swing into is not having their juxtaposed gestures by going to the houses and then breaking in.
So they do have to swing into. So David, they do have to swing into some kind of action.
Pardon?
So they do have to swing into some kind of action.
And that's why I said the action they have to swing into is that of investigation.
Okay, there is a swinging and there is an action that should be taken. Okay, all right. I'm glad. I'm glad we're both clear on that. There's a swinging and there is an action, and that's the most critical thing here. There has to be a swinging and there has to be an action, some kind, of the proper kind, of course. Via WhatsApp, who should sanction who over corruption? No Nigerian president or governor can fight corruption. All right, let's see. Hello, the Pandora document revelations was sponsored by APC to tarnish the good name and illustrious image of the likes of Peter Obi. It's a political witch hunt. That's the line of reaction that we will soon start to hear. And sadly, the teeming youths whose futures are being stolen will swallow the crap, hook, line, and sinker. That's a Mac Paul. Hi, Dar. Could you please read out the other names? For some reason, that information seems very hard to get. That's from AB Bozimo. Actually, I couldn't find that here as well. I thought I had it open somewhere else. All right. Melody from Uniport goes, Dial, you're unfair today. There are 10 Nigerians in that scandal. Why stress only Peter Obi? Mention other names for fairness purpose. What does it matter? Oh, okay. Peter Obi is a southerner, right? And there are northern names there also. So that's it. So why Why is that Dio only mentioning the southern names? Are there no northern names there? Very soon that's going to be the subject of the conversation now. Whether southern names versus northern names. They're not mentioning the northern names. Only the southern names. Goodness gracious, God help us. Alright, back to what's up. Good day. This report as regards to Nigeria is meaningless. Let me explain. In 2015, some callers on this very station said of President Buhari, and I quote, "Even if we see him breaking into the CBN, we'll still vote for him. How can I ever forget that? Our financial crime agencies won't do anything. Mark my words." Not from Newton. That's it. We don't need a report like Pandora for us to know that these guys are corrupt. Ejim from Abba Setna. Well, maybe we do actually, because if we cannot carry out investigations that will reveal this, so maybe we do need international organizations such as this to carry out investigations on our behalf, and then when they have done that, we can now, because maybe it's too much work, you understand, and we don't have the resources for it. So they've done the investigations. All we need to do is simply revise, go over what they have done, and then we can, indict and prosecute and try to get convictions. So at least a great deal of the work has been done on our behalf. So maybe once again, maybe we do actually need them to carry out these investigations for us. That him who is without sin should cast the first stone. That's what John promised. I think that's the most unfortunate thing to say, really. It's all political gymnastics, especially 2023. Remember Panama, Coppergate, and all that investigation. They're all dead. That's some justice. Well, they didn't die because the international organizations killed them, and there's nothing politically gymnastic about this, because the organizations that carried out this investigation is not a Nigerian organization. As a matter of fact, the about 10 Nigerians who were mentioned are even, that number is insignificant compared to the numbers that were covered by this report. And they span the entire globe. They span every continent. They span world leaders. They span celebrities, actors, musicians, sports people, billionaires, business owners, drug lords, you name it. It's not targeted at the southern leaders, while leaving the northerners alone. I know that's going to be the subject of conversation. That's the most important aspect of it for some people. How that they're protecting the northerners. They're protecting the northerners. The northerners. Lambert from Anthony, you're welcome. Please go on.
Hello there. Good afternoon.
Hello, go on.
Yeah. Concerning corruption in Nigeria, and the federal government intends to stop corruption in Nigeria. There was one story long time ago that we had that Python swallowed money in the office, and till now we have not heard anything about that.
Something happened about that. Just a moment, Lambert. Something happened about that. I think it was Jam. It was some Jam official who said that Python swallowed money. That official was arrested and prosecuted. Something happened.
Okay, something happened.
Yes.
We are still seeing these other 10 names that they are prosecuted. Let us see Peter Obi and the rest of them, whether the federal government will prosecute them. Our ears are on them, listening and seeing what they will do. Thank you.
You're welcome, Lambert. But I do remember something did happen as regards that matter about the JAMB official who claimed that Snake swallowed money. I remember that that JAMB official, I think it was 36 million naira. I think it was 36 million naira. I remember that official was prosecuted, and I think there was even a conviction as well. I don't remember the details right now, but I do remember the person was arrested and prosecuted as well. All right, maybe another couple of messages, and then we wrap this up. Can I get messages from our Facebook now? Let's see, via WhatsApp. Good. Until the president says EFCC should swing into action, they want this corruption fight is corruption itself. From Tong Awaji. Dio, due to PMB's frequent travels, they no longer read his body language. Remember that body language heralded their initial declared fight against corruption, or perhaps the fight against corruption has suffered an outage. I bet you we suffered an outage. Would be the new euphemism for spokesmen of government agencies to describe their incompetence. That's on tax. I don't think investigating the Pandora papers is as easy as you make it sound. This is just an allegation. The EFCC cannot just go about arresting. They need to do their investigation diligently, and they need collaboration with investigative body to come up with a clear report. That's from Kinsley. Well, Kinsley, thanks for pointing that out. But I'm not suggesting either that the EFCC or DSS or anybody for that matter or the NSA should carry out sting operations and go to people's homes, break in there and arrest them at about 2 a.m. at night. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying investigate. There has been allegations have been leveled. It will not be out of place for the Nigerian government to issue a statement on this, or the relevant agencies of government to issue a statement on this and inform the public that they are investigating, and maybe even periodically update the public as well on the nature or the stage of their investigations. It would not be out of place to communicate that. It would not be out of place at all, because these agencies are always very quick to inform the public about certain other things, even things they shouldn't be informing the public about, irrelevant things. So why are we slowing down on this one? It's about 4 p.m. now. A break for the business news, and when I return, discussions will continue. I'll be speaking with a boat driver in Port Harcourt here who had a most horrifying experience yesterday, I do believe. These drivers are an endangered species right now in River State. When I return, please stay with us.